What's your experience at a haunted school? I work in a public high school that used to be a military academy. The old part of the building still exists as the administration section of the building. I attended this school and had never heard any rumors of it being haunted until I started working there. During my first week of work, I was in the old part of the building. I suddenly smelled cigar smoke. I mentioned it to my coworker, and he just laughed and said, "Oh, that's just a ghost." I've since learned that a lot of people experience this in the old part of the building. I understand that this is easily explainable and could be nothing. My second and more unexplainable experience occurred about 2 years into my employment and was also experienced by one of my coworkers. We were doing some wiring work in a small closet. We had just finished up and shut the heavy solid wood door. My coworker was leaning against a door and we were talking. Suddenly, there was a loud boom and the door physically moved like something slammed into it from inside the closet. We opened it back up and there was nothing there. I have no explanation for this. While leaving the school late at night, I always feel like there is someone watching me from the attic window of the old building. One time, I even thought I saw a face in the window. No one has access to the attic because it's kind of dangerous and locked. I've been up there a few times to do wiring work. It still has all the old wood and wallpaper and such from the 1800s. The attic area used to be dorms for the military school. There has been electricity and ductwork added up there, so it is not easy to walk around. I know other employees who swear they've had experiences as well. The facilities director and a teacher both saw someone in a cadet outfit standing in a hallway on different nights. When spoken to, the cadet went around a corner and vanished. Our maintenance guy said that he was working in the old part of the building and a kid wearing old-timey clothes appeared under the ladder he was standing on. He told the kid he wasn't supposed to be there and looked away for a second and the kid just vanished. One of the overnight custodians swears that he hears horses walking at night sometimes. I'm sure there are other employees that have seen or heard things, but it's not something that comes up in normal conversations. I work as a shift lead lifeguard at the local high school pool. The pool isn't very old, it's been built in the last 15 years or so. I know there haven't been any drowning deaths there, but there is a rumor that somebody slipped in the men's locker room and died from head injuries, but I've never found out if it was real or true. I've worked there for just over a year now and have experienced weird things all the time, lights turn on and off, toilets flushing in bathrooms when nobody is there, strange noises and thuds heard. Basically a lot of things that skeptics could pass off as natural occurrences, faulty lights and whatnot. My first story starts very early in the morning. Every morning, we open at 5:30 a.m. I don't know why people want to swim so early, but whatever. I showed up at 5 a.m. to unlock the pool and do morning setup. Around 5:15 a.m., I hear a knock on the front doors and see a guy standing out there. He was quite underdressed for the cold weather, but I didn't care. I opened the door and told him we didn't open until 5:30. He responded, "Can I come in and change anyway? I won't get in the pool until then." I figured that was fine and let him in. He came to the front desk and pulled out his punch pass and scanned it. The program prompted me that his pass was expired. I told him that it was expired, and he responded, "Oh, it was a punch pass. Do they expire?" I explained to him that the punch passes have to be used within a year of being purchased, and then told him not to worry about it, and he could just go in today without paying. He said thank you and then took his swim bag into the locker room. A little bit later, my coworker texted me saying he couldn't come in today because he was super sick. I knew he was lying, but whatever. Now over an half hour had passed and nobody else had come into the pool. I looked through the office window into the pool deck. Our pool is indoor, our office is right next to the deck and is glass, allowing us to view the deck. The man wasn't out there and I could see that the men's locker room motion activated lights had turned off. I went out onto the deck and looked around, he wasn't there. I feared for the worst and ran to the locker room. The lights turned on and revealed nobody was there, no bag, nothing. I was a little freaked out at first, but then realized maybe this guy left out the doors on the opposite side of the pool without me knowing. Maybe he changed his mind about swimming. This story is kind of creepy but could be a coincidence. This next story was at the same pool, this time at night. We were closing and I was with one other coworker. I was in our office counting the money we had made for our report. My coworker went to check both locker rooms and turn the lights off. Moments after she went to check the men's locker room, I heard a very clear long whistle. A long whistle activates our emergency action plan, essentially meaning that someone is hurt and the other guard needs to assist. I dropped the money and ran to the locker room. When I rounded the corner to the locker room door, my coworker was walking out and was frightened when I was running at her. I asked why she blew her whistle, and she kept saying she didn't. Turns out, she left her whistle in the office. She was convinced that I was messing with her, but I know I heard a whistle. The second story here still puzzles me, and I have no idea what happened. Some of my coworkers have reported having a guy coming into the pool and going into locker room only to never come out. I don't know if anyone here could explain to me what could possibly be happening, but honestly, I still hate working there alone. It scares me. So I went to a private Catholic high school in Oklahoma. The school itself was built before the state was a state. It's over 110 years old and it used to be a convent. So the textbook set up for haunting stories. So before I went there, I had heard stories of the school being haunted, mainly the fourth floor. They always had these legends about things that happened there. They always talked about the pictures on the fourth floor never being straight. And if you fixed it, the picture would get messed up again. And if you took a ball up there, it would be pushed around. So my first day, part of the orientation was taking a tour of the school and seeing the haunted bits. There were two places that they talked about. The fourth floor and the morgue in the basement. You can understand the morgue, cause dead people. So first day went by and nothing special happened. 3 years later while I was in a film class, we went up to shoot a video up there after school and late into the night. We were all joking that we were gonna get video of something. About halfway through shooting, me and one of the actresses were talking, and we felt what felt like someone blowing on our ears. We spun around and there was no one there. We chalked it up to the wind. So we keep shooting and as we are moving setups, we see a tilted painting. We decided to fix it and after the next shot, one of the other students points out that the picture we just fixed was tilted again. So we fixed it again and in the middle of the next take, one of the actors screamed, saying they just watched the picture tilt by itself. Then we all heard footsteps come up the big staircase and then hear it go down the hall into a room. One of the students snaps a quick picture and we all swear that you can see what looks like the outline of a nun in a pitch black room. I teach culinary arts at a rural high school. The school has an attached theater that has long had a reputation for being haunted. I've been at this school now for 4 years and until today, I haven't had any really odd experiences. This would of course depend upon what you describe as an odd experience. Since my job sometimes requires me to be at work earlier than usual, since I sometimes need to do prep work to get the kitchen ready for each class, I have been at school as early as 5 a.m. At 5 a.m. when the world outside is still dark, my culinary arts kitchen is an oasis of light and sound. The first thing I do each morning is to transfer culinary jackets, bib aprons, and sanitizer cloths from the kitchen's washing machine to the dryer. While the dryer is rumbling, I brew a pot of coffee and take a few moments to make breakfast for myself. As shredded potatoes hiss on the stove and buttermilk biscuits rise in the oven, I bustle about the kitchen, putting away kitchen tools that were washed and air-dried on drying racks by my 6th period class. I find morning routines to be very comforting. They don't require a lot of effort, and while I work on each task, I can focus on what I'll be doing with each class. On at least 4 separate occasions, while working in the kitchen long before the school has opened, I've heard a voice in the kitchen. Each experience has been the same. A soft voice that sounds like a young girl says, "Chef." When I looked to see who spoke to me, no one else was in the kitchen. There was no one in the connecting classroom. The doors in the kitchen and classroom leading to an exterior hallway have also been shut and locked. Each time this has happened, I've mentally shrugged and have told myself that I must be hearing things. I am now rethinking this. Today while I was in the kitchen before school, someone opened the connecting door to the classroom. "Hello?" I called. The door paused and didn't open all the way. After a moment, it swung shut. I went into the classroom to see who was there. The classroom was empty. Both doors leading to the hallway were closed and locked. For a moment, I wondered if the door had been propped open and if the door wedge had given way so that the door shut. The problem is, I remember closing the door after entering the kitchen. When I checked the door, I also found that the door wedge was missing. Since I know my principal believes that the school is haunted, I wrote a brief description of this experience and sent it off via email. I was surprised she popped by after school. It seems that one of the office clerks who has long scoffed at the thought of ghosts had an experience last night in the culinary arts kitchen. The junior high, who share the high school, had some sort of event last night. The office staff came to my class to get chairs for the parents. While the clerk was passing the open connecting door to the kitchen, she saw a man in the kitchen. The stranger had walked across the kitchen to stand in front of the freezer. Since she didn't recognize him, she panicked and ran to the office to get the principal. The principal and 3 other people came back with her. When they entered the kitchen, there was no one there, but the principal and the clerk jumped when a blurred something suddenly streaked across the floor. The principal said it looked like a mist, while the clerk wondered if it was a rat. The principal then showed me a picture on her cell phone. The vice principal sent a picture of the lit stage with a text message saying that he was in the theater. He didn't realize it at the time, but his picture included what appears to be a ghostly head and the upper torso of a woman hovering off to one side of the stage. I'm currently a senior in high school, and 2 of my friends are pretty close to our college counselor, so they decided to surprise her on her birthday. So they went into the college office before she arrived and filmed it to get a reaction. After they filmed it, and when they watched it back, they saw a shadow of someone pass by the video right as the bell for first period rang. They were the only 2 people in there, and the lights were off, and only their iPhone flashlight was on. They showed my friends and I the video and said that they didn't want to send it to us because they did not want to mess with that stuff. When we finished watching, we tried thinking about who the spirit could be. Then we remember that 2 years previous, the other college counselor had taken their own life. We thought it could be them, but not only that, someone else had died earlier this year from breast cancer. They had their office right next door, often went into the college center to speak to the other staff there. So we believed it could be either one of them. The 2 friends that filmed it have nothing to lie about. They are pretty religious, so they did not even want to watch the video anymore.